Holy shit, there's a lot of people here. Hi! Yep. We're starting. So, everyone, welcome and thank you for coming to this panel. If this is your first time here, awesome. If this is not your first time here and you're a veteran, thank you very much for coming back and supporting me and for hanging out. And
I'm not late this time.
What's that?
I'm not late like I have to see this time.
Yes.
I made it!
I made it! So, this is my character and stuff. I'm Anix. I'm a Vilous team member, or the GRG thing. But anyways, so I do mostly like the Japanese and to English proofreading for the manga. That's my main thing that I do in the team. So I help edit the manga that gets posted online. If you haven't seen the manga, it's pretty cool. It's online, it's totally free, and it's all on there 100%. So if you haven't read the manga, it's actually pretty good, and it really kind of brings you into the world of Vilous. It's a great way to kind of jump into it. And I'm also a community leader, so I help out with the online telegrams. So yes, if you're not already in our Telegram chat rooms, there are a few, so you can come and talk to me later about how to get involved and join us and come hang out. I'd love to have you. So let's move right along. So I'm going to talk about Sergals and the world they're from. So the world they're from is called Vilous. It's like the overall, like the wizarding world of Harry Potter is to that, and we are Vilous. That's our umbrella. So we're going to start with a little bit of trivia time, because I've got a giveaway. I've got one of these metal pins, so we just got them in. So the trivia question is, who here can tell me both the names of both the creators? I saw that hand first.
Mick and Kiki Uma.
Yes.
I mean,
You get the pin. I have some more for later questions. But yes, these are the creators of Vilous. Mick Ono is the original species creator of Sergals, and she's joined by one of her closest friends, Kiki Uma. Kiki is actually here at this con and might even be in this room by now. I don't know.
She might still be. She might still be in the artist stand as we were leaving.
Here she is. There she is. There's Kiki. Hi, Kiki. Come sit up here. You can sit if you want.
Yes?
Yes. And I'll let you can talk in a little bit. So anyways, Kiki is the story writer and the lore creator, so we're very happy to have her. And she is here from Japan, all the way out here. So it's awesome that she's here, and I'm so excited. So, oh my God, I'm so happy. So, all right, so a brief history. How did Sergals get popular over here in America and everywhere else? Well, originally Mick creates Sergals in Japan around 2003-ish. It's kind of her own personal creation. And then around 2006, it started kind of leaking out into 4chan of all places and Second Life. 4chan in particular I like it because a lot of the tabletop gamers really like the Sergal race as like a fictional species, kind of like you got kobolds and everything else. So they were kind of adopted, and some people even adopted and created stats and backstory for them to be played in, I don't know if it was Pathfinder, but something like that. So that's, and of course Second Life, you've all seen it, the avatars became big on there, and people started seeing how cool they were. They're like, I want one too, so there's a lot of Sergals in Second Life as well. Which, Second Life happens to have a lot of furries, which blew my mind, I had no idea. So that's 2006, it starts to become popular in the West, and that includes United States, but it's also huge in Europe, Germany, Russia in particular. There's a lot of Russian Sergal fans, but it's really big in Europe as well as America. And people in Japan like it too. Who would have thought? So 2015, just more recently, the Vilous team was formed and the website was launched, as well as the manga. So the Vilous team was formed to help, mostly help Mick, because she is Japanese, her English is not the best, so we are here to kind of help facilitate between the fans and her, and to help organize the website and bring it to conventions. So we're basically here because she's in Japan and can't be everywhere. So we were here to help her out, but that started happening in 2015, and it's only been a couple of years since then, so we've kind of grown a lot. So, go you guys. So, a little bit about Sergals. How many here are here because you barely know anything about Sergals and you're here to learn about them for the first time? Awesome! Alright, so this is the big part of the panel for you guys is to learn, okay, what are these guys walking around? Why are they so cool and Murphy and everything? So, this is a sergal. They are an alien species that live in a sci-fi fantasy world. They live on a place called Planetal. They're a member of the Eltus Races. There's actually a few different in this family of races on this planet. They are very mammal-like, although they technically aren't mammals because they don't have the breastises. So technically they are not mammals, but they're otherwise very mammal-like. They have fur and everything like that. They are inspired by a lot of earth animals. They're not like... Alright, so they...
Get the wheel.
They're not a hybrid, they are their own thing, but they were inspired by a variety of things, including sharks, obviously because of the snoots, rabbits, kangaroos, lakes, canines, reptiles, avians, dinosaurs, particularly velociraptors, as well as birds, which is avian, and airplanes, fighter jets. Here on the top of a sergal head, which you'll see in a second, they look very much like a fighter jet or an R-wing from Star Fox, which happens to be Phantom of Furries, you would have thought. So those that call sergals a bark shark are technically incorrect. There's many more to them than just that. In fact, here's some more of their anatomy. So there's the R-wing. It does barrel rolls. Particularly, correct? So there is a skeletal structure right here. So those that want to learn how to draw sergals, this is all available online at a high resolution. And so yeah, this is what, if you want to have someone draw your Sona to like the way that Mick originally drew it, it's all right here, and it's great to have. Question? Alright, so this is the anatomy, and you all should have gotten one of these papers. Unfortunately, I didn't expect this many people. So even though I printed like 70 or 80, there's still not enough. So if you want one and you didn't get one, but you might already have one, maybe like leave it behind, someone else can get it, or not.
Somebody wants one.
So, or again, all this you can get online. So, I'm going to move on. There are 4 main varieties of sergals. So there's the northern ones are what I call the classic one. That's what's kind of started all, was the normal like white and gray. But there's been a couple more varieties that have been added since then. Southerns are also been around for a while. So those are the more cultured ones that live in the south of the area that these people live in. But the 2 ones that have been added in the more recent years was the western ones, or the pretty ones as I call them. They come in a lot more different colors, as well as the eastern ones, which are taller and stronger than most of the other sergals. So that's the 4 main ones. But, as you can see here, they come in a whole bunch of different fur colors. So you can kind of pick, if you ever want to make a sergal yourself, you have many colors that you could choose from, which is really cool. And fur dye is a thing in their universe. So you can also dye yourself a variety of other colors and mixes. So if you see someone that has a sergal that has extra colors to them, that actually could exist. So these
I
people,
saw Miss Radio, her story, she was tattooed like Freezer Man, how it blends white.
Yeah.
She just dyed all the green.
there you go.
I guess I have a reason now I'm the lime green sergal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Yes.
or you could be a western, because they come naturally in green.
But it's not lime.
Well, I mean, I can like take some of this like.
No! Okay, moving
Hey, I'm
on.
radioactive. I'll just turn everybody radioactive. We're good.
So the sergals have some stereotypes to them, and not all of them are necessarily true. In fact, very few of them are true. In reality, sergals are typically very friendly and casual people. They're very laid back and easygoing. They're very hardworking people. They're fairly simple-minded. I wouldn't say they're not unintelligent, but they don't really get fickle over more higher, elevated things that maybe some of the other races do. So they're more naive, they're very optimistic, and they typically don't hold grudges against other people. So if 2 sergals get into an argument, after the next day it's water under the bridge. They're fine, they're happy to move back to their lives. They're very influenced by their environment, so the different tribes and cultures are very much influenced by the environment that they live in. They can also be influenced by strong leaders, which the character on the sticker that you all got, that's General Rain, she was a very strong leader, so she was able to easily lead a bunch of sergals in her army. Let's talk about the Eltus Races. I said there's more than one. So trivia time. We all know about sergals. There's a couple other ones here. Who can tell me what these guys here are called? I see the hand back there.
Right here?
Yeah.
Nebrian?
Yes. That is correct. And who can tell me what the other guys is? I saw that hand.
Agudner.
Yes. So you get to pin.
Thank you.
You get the pin.
Everyone gets
And if everyone wants a pin, we do have them for sale,
Okay.
which I'll talk about later. So yes, it's the bird, raptor-like Nevrians, and the kind of goat and other mammal-like Agudners. Which, I'm a fan of these guys, they're cool.
So am I.
Burps.
Let's start with the Nevrians.
Burps.
So they, like Sergals, are a type of people. They're not animals, they are people, they just happen to look like animals. They are divided between the females and the males. Actually, I have a thing to point, so I'll use that. So the females have more earth-like colors, so they come in more muted colors like darker browns, darker tans, black, whereas the males are a lot more vivid. They come in a bunch of really bright colors. So other parts of their anatomy that are different, the males are a lot more lighter. They have longer wings on them, so they do have limited ability of flight, whereas the females have much shorter wings, so they cannot fly. So the males are very kind of carefree. They can be very childlike. They're very artistic. They're very pretty. The females are the hardworking of the two, so they are there to help defend the males in their society. So it's kind of a reverse gender norm, not completely one-to-one, but typically the females are the harder working ones. They both have teeth like this, but the females have much more pronounced teeth, a lot more velociraptor-like, and they do have like this little talon on their feet, whereas the males have more, for lack of a better term, chicken feet. But these are very cool. They're pretty popular, and they're also very awesome. So Agudners. So Agudners are very human-like. I would say that they're pretty much true mammals. They do have memories. So the females and males are divided. They're very similar to humans. All of them are even-toed ungulates like deer. And most of them have horns. They're not always symmetrical. They could have between no horns to up to 8 horns. It's kind of random, and when they're born, that's determined how many horns that they have. So their culture is a lot more human-like. So when they're on their own, they lived in tribes and they were very warlike, very almost kind of barbarian. But when they met Sergals, they actually kind of had a cultural exchange. And the Agudners became a lot more carefree and relaxed like the Sergals. And the Sergals became more human-like and had a better, more stronger society thanks to the Agudners. They mixed very well. So let's talk about the world. Final trivia, and this one's not for a pin, this one is for a rain keychain. Also for sale. So, I can't tell, let's go with you because you know everything. Who can tell me the name of the planet that they all live on?
I mean, except for the fact that you said it was a planet Tal.
Yes. So you get a keychain.
You mentioned it.
That's fine. Were you paying attention?
Only dancing to the music.
Yes. So here's a quick sketch of the solar system. Everything you see is kind of conceptual, so it is subject to change. But as of right now, the main star is known as Vilous. So the universe that this is based on happens to share the same name with the sun. The planet that they live on is actually planet Tal, and planet Eltus is another planet that was very Earth-like, and based on the current canon, which again might change, the Eltus races used to live here on a very lush Earth-like planet, but they migrated to planet Tal a long time ago. How they got there is lost to history, and hopefully in the manga coming up, maybe that story will be told. So on the planet Tal, here's a map of the entire planet. The planet is a desert planet. It's not completely desert, but a lot of it is desert. The middle area is a dangerous, hazardous area where the atmosphere is thin and the solar radiation is so high that nothing can cross here, like at least on foot. Like it's way too intense. It's like, think about the Gobi Desert times 10. So it's really hazardous. Nothing really survives there that the Eltus know about. So this area down here, can't get to. So all of the Eltus people live pretty much in this little tiny area right here. So this is the Eltus Map. So I'm not going to go over this in great detail, but the things to know is that most of the Sergal live around, the Sergals and the Agudners and the Nevrians live here, And Gold Ring, that's the main city. That's their New York City of this planet. That lives right here in a salt lake called Salt Lake Vilous, or Vilous. The northern Sergals are in this area up here. The eastern ones live in this area right here. It's got mountains. All this right here is marshland, so there is water sources available to them. There are rivers. And the bird people, the Nevrians, come from this area over here. Separating all of them is this big desert right here. So it's a very hostile place. So going from here to down here, very dangerous. So a lot of the communities just kind of live in their own little place. Question?
Are westerns where the Neverons are, or are they like are they not there?
Good question.
Okay.
The Western Sergals were found in this area right here. They're kind of, they're mostly actually northern Sergals that were changed a little, that just kind of changed over time by being around the colorful Nevrians. So they lived in this little kind of border region between this area and Nevria. But we'll get back to that in a second.
Sounds like Northwestern would be like a more accurate name.
Yeah, but Western's easier to say.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the areas in a little bit more detail. So up north, this is the Shigu area, and that's where all the Northerns are from. So they usually look like this. This is their cultural flag. And this is a concept art of what a more modern take of their society would be. And they do have levels of technology, like there's actually a little cash register right here. But that's a concept art, so that's cool. It's one way of looking at the world. So the east right here is Riona. That's their flag right here. And so this is an image of the Livebank Mountains. So it is very green, it's very lush. They can grow a lot of stuff there. There's mining. So a lot of industry, a lot of resource gathering is held in this area. And there's a lot of different civilizations, like societies. It's kind of a network of different cities or smaller towns they're really renowned for hunting, gathering. So it's a pretty diverse area. Gold Ring in the south. It's kind of like your typical like sci-fi desert oasis city. So you've probably seen a lot of that in sci-fi movies and games. But it feels very much like that. It's a very bustling town. Different peoples. We've got some Agudners here, got some Nevrians here, Sergals walking around. So yeah, it's a very hustle and bustle city. It's full of typical city problems. There are police there that help govern the area. So yeah, it's a pretty cool place. And over here in the west, particularly right here, this is the Nevria area, at least right here. So you can see the cultural exchange. You got the Sergals, the Nevrians all living together. That's great and everything, except that happened in the past, and in modern times, this doesn't happen anymore because the northern Shigu area invaded and basically wiped the civilization out. If anyone here is familiar with Avatar: The Last Airbender animated series, it's kind of like the Eastern Nomads. The Fire Nation invaded, wiped them out.
Yeah,
Pretty much the same concept here. So, yeah, so bye-bye. So Nevrians, basically, the Nevrians themselves basically went back to their homeland, closed the borders. So they are now a completely isolated society. So let's talk about the Talyxian biomes. So it's called Planet Tal. So like we have Mars and Martian. It's Planet Tal, and the local native wildlife is called Talyxian. So there's a few different biomes. Here's just a couple examples. We got forest, we got the plains, we got that Salzane desert that I mentioned, and more. So a little bit about the creatures. This is an alien world, and there's a lot of creatures there. Some of them are harmless, some of them are incredibly hostile. So these are absolutely not to scale. But they do have their version of horses, their version of goats, their version of rabbits. We got pigs. They're very kind of alien, kind of bug-like, kind of plant-like. Those are the more domesticated ones. Those are the nice ones. Then you got these guys, leeches. That's not to scale. These things are like the sandworms in the movie Tremors.
Or Dune.
Dune.
Or Dune.
I don't think they're quite
Dune.
that.
Or that. Well, Dune too, but I was thinking about Tremors. Either way, they're big, they eat you whole. They're very scary. Other scary things are the weasels. They're about the size of a tiger or so. They look kind of like this. They got stingers on their head. One sting from them and you're paralyzed for the rest of the day. Makes you an easy meal. Don't get stung by them. Travel in groups.
Is it like Australia? Everything is dangerous.
Everything is trying to
will
kill you.
Australia on crack and steroids.
So wonderful.
They have their
Probably
version
wants
of wolves, and the wolves became domesticated by the Eltus people, so they do have dogs. They're kind of cute and they make beeping sounds.
Oh, great. One part gone.
So stalkers are their version of cats. They are kind of interesting. I'll kind of touch on them a bit more later. But they come in a different variety of sizes. They could be smaller, and they could be the size of a tiger or bigger. But stalkers are interesting because they're one of the few Talyxian creatures that have a high level of intelligence. Their intelligence levels are at or near human levels, which means some of them can talk, if it wants to. So Talyxian races, there is a native people. They're very mysterious. They're known as rooters. They kind of stick to themselves. There's a few ambassadors in Gold Ring. They work to kind of help them out with their everyday things. They also are known as doctors, so they are there to help the Eltus people. So if they get injured or sick, the rooter doctors are there to go. Any Eltus can go to them and get fixed up. But typically they are very passive. They kind of stand in the background. If there's any disputes, they're pretty much hands off and they kind of do their own thing. They don't talk a lot about themselves, so they are very enigmatic, they're very mysterious, and thus fans love to come up with conspiracy theories about them. But even to myself, I know some of the background lore, but even I don't know much about them. They truly are, only she knows. Only she knows. But yeah, they're very, very secretive. Oh, I went a little too fast. Stalkers. So some of them prefer to have to live in the wild. Some of them want to be a lot more human-like. So those that want to be as human-like as possible will actually opt to dress in human-like clothing. They will learn to talk, and if they do that, they're actually granted by the Gold Ring government basic human rights. So they're allowed to have property ownership. They're allowed to be an employee. They can have their own store. They can have their own possessions. So they're basically treated like a citizen if they show that they are human enough to do that. Because there are wild ones that prefer to live in the forests and jungles that hunt and eat people. So they have to prove to themselves, yes, I want to be a person and get human rights like the rest of you. And yes, I'm using that very deliberately. The Eltus peoples do call themselves human and humans collectively. As Eltus, we are humans, therefore you get human rights. So there's a little bit of symbolism involved in there. But to get into that, it's going into a lot more detail. So I shall move on. So there are official stories. The manga does cover some of that. There are several characters in it. So for these two as children, this is Baku and this is Ged. Ged is a fan favorite. Also, he's captured my heart. He's an adorable little hero. He's cool. But there's a few other characters, especially from the more classic stories that came out in the 2000s. We got the pretty boy Jack, who is a Western Sergal. We got Cad, who those who know about our store, we just released a Daki of him. And Lyric, who also we have a Daki of. So these are some of our main characters. And of course, Rain herself is the most notorious of all the characters, and she has her own story arcs, and her revised, rebooted story arc is coming out soon. So you get to learn all about her, the brutal general of Shigu. And there she is, buying something at Priley. Priley is an interesting character because he's actually a fan character owned by Priley, who is on the Vilous team, and he's got a lot of awesome art of his character. So his character's not actually canon, but we love him enough anyway, so here he is. So technology, people ask about this a lot, so here's a slide about technology. They do have a mix of technology, and the world that Vilous is from is actually heavily inspired by the Studio Ghibli movies, so the Miyazaki films like Spirited Away and Nausicaa, The Valley of the Wind. Those movies tend to have an alternate look at the world, where they might have some high-tech and low-tech at the same time, kind of steampunky, diesel-punky. Vilous is very much like that, and Mick was heavily inspired by those movies, so you'll see a lot of that feeling from here. So they do have some high-tech stuff like wireless fax machines. They have electronic music. They love kind of like techno kind of music. So they do have that. But do they have computers? Not really. Do they have the internet? Kind of, but not really. They have wireless fax for right now. They do have vehicles. They're very Japanese in style, so they're very small and lightweight. Well, they do have vehicles. They do have trucks in the more modern era. Firearms. Yes, they do have firearms, although it's not really a big focus like in the Miyazaki films. They might have guns, but they're not really a main focus. The Sergals prefer to fight with melee weapons like swords and spears. So yes, they do have guns, but the swords and spears, particularly spears, are a lot more effective on the wild Talyxian creatures, so that's typically what they stick with. Also, gunpowder is very rare and hard to come by, and thus very expensive, so unless you're loaded with cash, you'll be sticking with spears. Less technology. So, since Kiki is here, I do want to plug her a bit and say that she is here. She is in the Artist Alley. So she's right back here in the marketplace area. That is where you can find her. She is open for commissions, lazy loaf badges, kind of like this one right here. You can also commission her online later, but if you want to come and talk to her and say hi, please come to her table. She will be here today as well as tomorrow.
Please come to me.
Yeah. So we have a variety of merchandise for sale, including t-shirts, those pins I passed out, we have a lot of those left over. And Kiki actually has a lot of her own merchandise from her own world. She has her own place called, is it Tsukurakake?
Yes.
And so she has some characters from that. They're freaking adorable. Like these little guys right here. She has this character here for sale. So yes, please support her. And you can find her booth looks like that.
Actually, we sold almost shirts. We have more pins and keychains for bills.
Okay, if you, those that couldn't hear, a little low on the shirts, but we do have a lot of the keychains left over. As well as the charms?
Yes.
And the charms. So those that want to learn more, there is our official website, which is vilous.net. It's on the handouts everywhere, so you should be able to find it pretty easily. On it, there is the official manga, which you can read again for free. And we also have an official Vilous Telegram room. So there's actually a QR code on the handout. So if you scan it with your phone, it is free for you all to join. You just got to follow our rules, and everyone's welcome to join, whether you are a sergal or just want to get in, if you're interested to learn more. You can also talk to Vilous staff like myself. I'm more than happy to answer questions and talk about it. Anyone is allowed to create a Vilous character. Sergal, Agudner, Nevrian. It's an open species. You're all allowed to create one. You can do it any way you want. If you want it to be true to the canon, like you would exist in this world, that's cool. If you want to make one that's more your persona, that's got wild, wacky colors, or if you happen to be, I don't know, a dragon hybrid, like this one, that's totally cool, and we're totally happy for you to do that. So if anyone tells you, no, you can't do that, that's silly. Like, be what you want to be. So have fun with it. So yeah, sergals, you can be a sergal. That's cool. If you want to have a sergal with horns, that's cool. I love that stuff. So yes, I'm here to support you. If you want to say, I want my character to be as canon compliant as possible or canon adherent, I can help you with that too, but your character is what you want. So that's my little rant about that. That's the end of this presentation, but I got a couple other things to show. You can see a little bit of background of the lore and some sneak peeks of lore that's coming up. A lot of it is concept ideas that may or may not be fully adopted, but if you want to be on the in and get to see things that we normally won't post or we won't post to the wiki until later, this is where you can go. It's not very much, it's like $5 a month. Please support them, it's awesome.
Feed my creepy creatures.
Yes. And another person that I want to support is Ray. She's one of our official artists. She also has her own Patreon for her world. It's not Vilous, but she does do a lot of work for us, pro bono, for free, so she's awesome, and I want to help her out back. So Ray is super cool, and her Patreon name is Ray Etherna, so R-A-Y-E-T-H-E-R. So if you go to our website, this is what it looks like. So you can see the manga is fully here. There's a lot of times we have a description at the bottom to kind of describe what's going on, because a lot of times things are a bit cryptic in the Vilous world. But you can also learn about us, about Vilous. Here's the comics and artwork. So you can go here and do the drop down and click Gathering Herbs. This is the, oh, I'm not online right now, but that's the very first page. This is where to start. But be warned, Vilous is a little intense. There is some graphic violence, so you come into it with that expectation. I would call this PG-13. We also have a store, so a lot of these items is for sale at the convention. Right now you can buy it online as well. And we're currently doing some sales, so if you want to get some Vilous merch, this money does go directly to helping the creators. Us, we're volunteers, we're not making a dime on this. So this is one way to help the creators of Vilous and to help keep them going. This is their full-time job. This is what keeps them going.
We heard near the cool guy.
Yes, we do have a brand new Daki Makura, which is the Japanese-style snuggling pillow. So those are here. They are for sale. So you can get these online. These are pre-orders. We don't have them yet, but this is our brand new item. The pins are here as well, $12. So the pin, here they are, $12. I love these things. Pins are great. For those that click on the wiki, it'll take you to this page. Just click English, and pretty much everything will come up. So there's a huge, huge, huge page on sergals. You learn all about them, it's here. I just scratched the surface. There is so much sergal to go around. There's also a huge page on Nebrians, on Agudners, so you can learn all about them as well. And Mick also has an FA page, so anything you don't see on Patreon, you can also come to the FA page. You can see we do post a lot of her sketches, her commissions. The official comic is here as well. So you can come here and support her. And Kiki also has a page on FA as well. I don't have it loaded, no internet, so I can't show you. But that's all the pages there. And also, I have a message that I was sent from Mick herself that I'd like to read to you. Oh. Thank you. So, now Mick is native Japanese. English is very much her second language, so bear with me here, but I will read it off pretty much verbatim. So this is a message to all of you. And we wanted to do audio, but I didn't know how to cook the audio, so we just did text, and I'll just speak for her. Mick says, about 10 years ago, I created sergal species as my own hobby. At first, I write about job. I tried workings as a faulty laborer when I was young. I felt that I'm defective, like something's wrong with me. I felt the same to my student days. Standard works were terrible and my motive got damaged deeply up till now. So basically she didn't feel like she was integrating very well with Japanese society, didn't want a Japanese job, wanted to do her own thing, but felt wrong about it. So she tried working as an art worker, but did not get adaptation to Japanese otaku industry. Japanese style and trends are much different than my art style. I tried the possibility to work or marry somebody, but wanted to keep her personal life. And now she feels like she is not broken, but different. So one day I had noticed about sergals getting famous overseas. She felt like realistically that maybe she can do it. The internet has changed my life. Actually, it hasn't fully hit me yet, but so many people like my art now. It still feels like it's so far from my life. Kiki told me about the sergal fandom, and people are very nice to us. The fans have great gratitude towards Kiki and the Vilous team on the internet and beyond. I still am under deep apathy for my daily life, but I feel actual hope that I'll get to rise. I couldn't get this opportunity to come to MFF, but I hope to get over this and to meet you at this location someday. So a bit about Vilous. The team and I continue to create this world of Vilous as a sci-fi world. This is why I love this kind of genre, because my interest is thinking and feeling about the fundamental of phenomenons and life, which I'll add to this. Vilous is sci-fi and fantasy. It's fantasy because there's a lot of spiritual parts to it. It is very steeped in Japanese feelings of Japanese folklore. So there's a lot below the surface. There's some things that cannot fully be explained. Kind of like in Star Wars has the Force. There's something a bit more that's a bit mystical. There is a bit of levels of magic to this world. Things that cannot be explained. The paranormal is very much alive in this world. And a lot of this reflects how Mick and Kiki feel about themselves from a spiritual standpoint, so that also is pushed into the Vilous world. So, from my childhood, I wondered about natural structures and human consciousness, and where we come and where we go. I got struck by the beauty of nature, how life gropes in the darkness of the earth with the extraordinary from the far space and time. Unexpectedly, we awoke here and in the furry genre, but almost I don't know the reason. I feel like delightful. If Vilous makes people interested in that kind of imagination for people. My dream is that this is a personal desire that I'm having imagined from a long time ago. My dream travels to beautiful landscapes in the United States and other countries. Specifically, I want to stay and watch it spread, and the craggy mountains and wildlife. If I get enough income, I'll get to travel and to heal my mind. Vilous is just a microcosmic dream of me, which lives in a cramped place of population density, because she lives in Japan. It's very populated there. I want to see vast lands in real life. I think change of my outlook about the world. Basically what she's saying is by being fans of her work, you have changed her outlook on life and brought her a lot of happiness, and kind of gave her hope that maybe she can be herself and not have to conform to Japanese society, and she can be who she wants to be. So she's very thankful for you guys. So thank you. It says thanks from the. Aww. Oh, I need to get internet here.
I have some if you want. So have some internet.
That's fine.
Give me some internet. She drew a picture for you guys to see.
It's FBI.
Oh man.
All right. So she says, thanks from the deep alien biome, Mick. So, okay, I'll try getting on Wi-Fi. So this is for you guys.
Mr. Yoji, big sergal says Mr. Yoji.
Yep.
And the Talyxian super kids. One is me, and more one is me.
Yes. So this is Mick's personal character. I actually kind of glossed over that, but her character is a stalker known as Moa Moa. So this is Moa Moa as a kitten. And this is also a stalker. This is Kiki's character. And they're Shirokuro?
Yeah, black and white.
Black and white character. And they're offering a Talyxian bug as a present, as a cat might do to a person. This is Mr. Yaji, who lives in the modern times of Cold Reef. Oh yeah, thank you, yummy. Yes.
They good for you.
All right, so that pretty much concludes my panel, but I can answer some questions. We have a little bit of time left.
Oh, it's nice.
So if anyone has some quick questions, I can take some questions. Yes.
Yes. I'm actually looking for an artist that's experienced with Sergals for a quick sketch. Do you know of any here in the artists?
Right there.
Can you take my money today?
They call it.
Say what now?
Please come to my desk later.
Desk later?
Yeah.
And the artist? Okay, I will throw money at you. Yay.
There's actually a few of us artists.
Say what?
There's actually a few of us artists.
Oh, we have 50 bucks.
I just don't his badges.
Oh my god.
Just hit me up later.
There. Nope. There.
There.
So again, this is where Kiki is, and so you can commission her.
Yes.
There are a lot of really good Sergal artists that I know online. I don't know if any of them are here at this con, but if you want to talk to me later, I can point you to some people that I think are amazing, and they have a spectrum of different price points. But yes, they can help you get your Sergal made or whatever character, and they are really good people.
Thank you. Thank you.
I do have a bit of a question when it comes around to Sergal weaponry. Is it possible to have Sergals work with some sort of like bows or crossbows? And if so, how is that going to work in terms of like cost, efficiency, and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, they do have crossbows and bows in their society. That's more of a Nevrian weapon. Nevrians are a lot better with hand-eye coordination than Sergals. Sergals don't have quite as acute eyesight as the bird people. So the Nevrians typically have the bows. The Sergal could use a bow, but it's not their preferred favored weapon.
Even if it's like, well, what I have in mind is my Sergal character is actually a hunter, and I thought it would be really interesting that she would be like working around the Badlands essentially.
Yes.
And I thought it was like, like maybe if she needed like like a bow for something like a means of like tracking or something like that.
Yeah. Typically, Sergal hunters do a lot of kind of like Velociraptor attacks. Sergals are really built for long distance running, very high in stamina. So they will tend to run fast, jump, and pounce and stab down with a spear. That's more their preferred hunting method.
Okay.
So they're dragoons.
Huh?
So effectively they're dragoons, like Final Fantasy.
Yes! Sergals will make excellent dragoons for Final Fantasy. I'm glad you got that. Question?
What's their armor made out of?
Good question. The armor, it depends on the time period and the location. They have tried metal armor, but metal's not as prevalent there. Their mining technology is not quite as advanced as here on Earth. But they did, again, this is kind of a mix of technology levels, they did learn how to make ceramic armor that is very resilient to impact. So their ceramic is very high intensity, and they use that instead of metal. But yes, their armor is ceramic. Question?
So you had said that the Gold Ring City is a lot like New York City. In modern So in modern times in the setting, like roughly how large is it in population and area?
That I actually don't know. It's kind of vague.
Okay.
A lot of the finer details aren't really said.
Okay.
Just like in RPG City, you wouldn't know the exact population. That's a good question. It is definitely the most populated city, but how big exactly and how big is the area, I'm not sure what the scale is.
Okay.
So that's a finer detail that I can provide. Good question. Yes.
Oh, I was gonna say we should make a little video of us saying thank you to Mick and send it.
Yes.
Ooh.
You need to pull out your phone and let's just do a selfie like this from up front.
Yeah. He's got 4K.
I can do that.
You got 4K.
There's no saying we see it forever. It's okay. I think we kind of need to with all these great moves.
You give her a small message and then we'll all just say thank you.
We'll say thank you, Nick.
They're wedging together.
All right.
That was boop.
Stand back. It's elevated.
What should we say? Say we just need 7 or 8 more.
Just say,
circle.
I don't know, thank you, Mick.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, thank you, Mick.
Okay.
Are we ready?
Yep.
Give me a second. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you,
Got it.
Thank you so much. Now I'm only one person here, but we both heard. Oh, thank you so much to all you guys.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much for everyone for coming. Now turns over to the kind of meet and greet. I don't know how long we can stay in this room. I don't think there's anything after this room. So until someone kicks us out, we can just kind of hang out. So kind of come together, like find some people to chat about your character or whatever. You can come to me and talk about questions. But yeah, hang out. Sure.
Sorry. Yep, I'm fine.
Try
shoes soon.
Yeah,
It's better than this. This is number 1. Second hand is also
You gotta start somewhere.
I'm going to give you the greeting and put the head down. Yeah. Obviously, I don't have them on me right now. I've been into like.
Thank you so much. Yes, yeah, you're planning to stop by today.
Everyone's been talking about this. So I saw the pink one.